If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. So as I do quite frequently, I try to answer questions that I get throughout the week or a couple weeks or however long I can come up with a series of questions and try to answer them so everybody has an opportunity to hear the answers, not just in the comment section. One of the questions I get is, does this thing rock around in the wind a lot? Well, today it's 22 miles an hour wind. Of course, there's it's 25 degrees outside too, so it's kind of chilly. But as long as the wind is coming from the front end of the truck, you don't feel anything at all. That being said, if it hits this truck from the side, it rocks really, really bad. And to the point it'll make you seasick, actually. So I'm going to walk out here in the wind just so you can see how windy it is. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. So it's pretty windy. We're getting gusts, I think they set up to 35, 40 miles an hour. The other thing I do, and this is a pretty significant thing, and I've showed this before, is I have a scissor jack underneath the back end of the truck. It's really easy to take down, put up, kind of use it as a stabilizer. So that way, when one of us steps up on the tailgate, it doesn't rock the whole truck up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and sit inside the truck so I can stay a little warmer because it's cold out there. And so anyway, the next question I got was melting snow. I've been going through these conversations of whether a nomad can be a survivalist out there in the national forest in extreme weather conditions like we have now. Right now, like I said, it's supposed to get down to 9 degrees tonight. Wind chill factor is going to be below 0. Right now, the wind chill factor is 10 degrees. It's cold. I keep advocating that if you're going to be a nomad, don't try to be a survivalist. The whole point of being a nomad, in my opinion, is to minimize the things you have. And trying to go out there and melting snow and all that thing, and all those kind of things, I think you're going to run into some risks that maybe we're not thinking about. The other day, when we had the 20 inches of snow dumped on us, the city had to shut off the water. Apparently there was a water main break, so they had to shut off the water for a good portion of the day. Well, I needed some drinking water. I didn't realize they shut off the water here in town. 20 inches of snow just dumped on us. I'll melt some. So I grabbed a bucket full of it, and I fired up both burners on the propane stove, the cook stove, and got 2 pans, and I tried to warm up 5 gallons of drinking water. It was an absolute waste of propane is what it was. It would have been cheaper to go outside of town, find a spigot somewhere, or even go to Walmart and buy some water. It would have been cheaper. It used a ton of propane. Both burners going. It could not keep up with the gravity-fed Berkey. I mean, it takes an hour for the Berkey to filter out, 5 gallons of water. Not only that, carbon monoxide detectors went off. I had to open all the doors and all the windows. It was terrible how much propane it was using. I had the heat. The propane stove was putting off so much heat, even with the windows and the doors open, I didn't have a coat on. It was still fairly warm in there. While we're on the subject of the Berkey, had a couple questions about it. I said that the Berkey, in one of the videos, the Berkey does not filter out certain viruses. It filters out bacteria just fine, but viruses like hepatitis A, the rhinovirus, those kind of things, it doesn't filter out. So the CDC is warning that if you're going to have to use stream water, now this is extremely, you're in an extreme situation where you're dipping out water out of the stream, that you need to do one of 3 things. Boil the water, put chlorine in the water, or put iodine in the water. So if you boil the water and then you dump it on the black Berkey to remove the lead and the other contaminants, so so you boil the water to kill the viruses, you dump that hot water in the Berkey, well, now you're going to damage the Berkey filter. It says don't use hot water. So somebody said, well, why don't you filter the water first to remove the lead and the other contaminants and then boil the water so you can remove the viruses? Here's the downside to that. If you filter the water with viruses in it, and the viruses go into the inside tube of the filter, you've just contaminated the clean side of your filter. So that means you would never be able to use the filter again without having to boil the water, because now the inside is contaminated. It's okay to contaminate the outside of the filter, but the inside, once this becomes contaminated, it's basically useless. That's why when you prime the filter, you have to prime it with good, clean, fresh water. I usually use Berkey water to prime it. Somebody asked, what about peroxide? Can we use peroxide instead of chlorine or iodine? And here's my answer. I did a lot of research on peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, and everything says it does a great job killing the bacteria and the viruses and all that. So, but I'm not going to recommend it to anybody, simply because the government or this CDC does not say anything about hydrogen peroxide. I couldn't find anything where the government agencies, so it would be irresponsible for me to say, yeah, use it. Another person said grapefruit juice is a good thing to use to kill bacteria. And I looked that up, and again, it does. It kills bacteria, but it does not kill viruses. So if you're using a Berkey, the Berkey will kill the bacteria, so you don't need to worry about using grapefruit juice, because the Berkey either does it or the grapefruit juice does it. But it doesn't kill the viruses. We're kind of talking about condensation again. There's been a lot of questions coming up again. I thought we kind of put this to rest a few weeks ago, but it's starting to come back up that is condensation a problem in the camper? Is condensation a problem in the camper using propane heat? And the answer is no. It was a problem, but now it's not a problem. The reason it's not a problem anymore is because I have insulated the entire camper. Everything is completely insulated now. So as long as that heat from the propane heater doesn't touch the walls of the cold walls, condensation is not produced. And so I have no condensation issues anymore, with the exception of the windows themselves. That's the only thing that causes condensation. So just like in your house, you probably have condensation on your windows. I have condensation on my windows. Thanks for watching. Click like if you liked the video, and happy travels.